The views and opinions expressed in this presentation are those of the producer and those appearing in the show and do not necessarily represent the views of DerryCam, the Town of Derry, or any of its staff or affiliates.
Hi, I'm Anthony Henry. Welcome back to America's Ask. We're on episode 51. And first of all, I just want to say 3 weeks until the election. It went by really quick. And I've been trying to say it every show, but I mean, in Derry, our town clerk is Tina Guilford. Our town moderator is Dave Nelson. Register to vote. We need every voter. So, I mean, just get out and do it. But anyway, I'm here with our Rockingham County Commissioner, Steve Goddu. So thank you for joining us. Please take a minute to introduce yourself.
Good afternoon, Henry. My name is Stephen Goddu, and it's been my pleasure for the past 2 years to serve as your county commissioner. I represent Derry, Windham, Salem, Atkinson, Plastow, Newton, Southampton, and Seabrook. It's a big territory, and I've really enjoyed my job at the county. I enjoy the service that I'm able to offer to the communities that I represent, and thrilled to be here today to talk to you.
Thank you for coming on, and get right into it. We've had county officials on before. We've heard their definitions of how the counties run. What do you see as, what do you do? What do you do as a county commissioner?
You know, that is the most asked question that I have that is proposed to me. Nobody knows, it seems. The general public does not know what the county commissioners do. And we don't make the newspaper. There's not a lot of controversy that's going on that, people are, I suppose if there were controversy, everybody'd have be diving into that. But essentially, it is politics. So there's a lot of politics to get elected. You have to get elected first. But once I got elected, what I realized is that there's very little politics involved, or at least there shouldn't be very much politics involved in the job, because it's a job. It's not like the legislature where you have, you're making political decisions and making laws and making decisions that are going to affect the community at large. This is really a business job. I'm a business manager. I've been in business for over 25 years myself, so walking into this position is the same as running my business in a lot of ways. We get proposed problems to solve. We have issues that are regular old business issues. There's no politics. I'd like to tell, I'm a staunch Republican, and I chair the Republican Town Committee in Salem, have for 6 years. But I have to say, I haven't made one vote that have been on party lines. Those opportunities just aren't there. So we run all of the departments. We oversee is really the right word. All of the departments at the county. So the departments that are most important are the ones that affect the residents of Rockingham County. So first of all, we have the Registry of Deeds. That's an elected official. Kathy Stacy is our Registry of Deeds, and her charge is to make sure that all of the properties are properly documented and there's no disputes of who owns what, and to collect the tax stamps when properties are exchanged. Our job relative to her department is to oversee spending, budget, policies, personnel issues, but she really runs it. And that's the same with all the departments. So we have the Registry of Deeds, we have the county attorney who does all of the felony prosecutions for the county, and then we have the sheriff's department that protects the courthouse and serves papers and acts as a police force. The sheriff right now is Chuck Maceos, who's doing a great job. He's got a drug task force going that is active. There's a lot of drugs that come up through the 93, 101, and 95 corridor are the major areas for trafficking, and they're working diligently to reduce that, and I think they're doing an excellent job. We also have the county jail. And the county jail is a place where somebody goes if they get arrested and they're waiting trial. It's usually they're there for less than a year, oftentimes a lot less than that. It's not until you get sentenced that you would go to a prison. So, and in all those departments, it's the same. The head of the department runs the department. I'm not running the department. I'm not running the jail. But when the superintendent of the jail needs to make a decision on some personnel or some union negotiation contracts or spending and says that they need an extra $10,000 to buy some piece of equipment, that's where the county commissioners come in and we approve and suggest those items. So there are 3 county commissioners. So it's the executive branch of county government, and so I've got 1/3 of the vote that it takes to affect any changes. And it's an unusual circumstance to have a board of 3. 2 people are a majority. But it works well. We've done a good job, and I've been really pleased with the work. I forgot the most important department, the nursing home. It's our biggest department. We have over 300 employees there, and that is it's a major expense, and it's been a major problem keeping personnel there, which we are addressing. But yeah, the nursing home, assisted living, and full nursing, skilled nursing facilities, very important, and it warms my heart that I get a chance to be a part of making that an excellent operation, because all of the people who are in the nursing home are on Medicaid. They can't afford to go into a private pay, and private corporations can't afford to take a whole slew of Medicaid patients because, quite frankly, you lose money on it. Last year, the county lost or had to put $10 million towards operating the nursing home. It's a little bit more than it should be, and we're working on fixing that. We're having a significant amount of difficulty with attracting employees in healthcare, and that's a nationwide problem, but it's still a local problem, and we need to fix it locally.
Yeah, so you mentioned a lot of things. Over your past couple years, and you've been basically reelected to 4 more. You don't have an opponent in the general. So what have been some of your biggest accomplishments as a board? Because, like you said, you're only one of 3. On almost everything, all 3 of you have to be united. What have been your biggest accomplishments? One that stands out to me personally is the complex, the new building.
Well, I'd like to take credit for that, but all those decisions were made previous to me coming on on this particular board of commissioners. I came on board and the contracts were all signed, the vendors were chosen. It was just a matter of the final executions to be signed and the final budgets to be signed. But yes, that's a huge accomplishment, and I'd say in general the construction and operations are going well. The county's going to be better served to have this municipal building. It's needed. It's going to house the sheriff's department and the county attorney and the registry of deeds. Right now, the county attorney and registry of deeds are in the Brentwood state-owned courthouse. We rent from them. We'll no longer have to pay that rent, and that building isn't very good. It's had problems since it was built with water and mold and all kinds of troubles. So they'll be in there, and the commissioners will be in there, and there'll be meeting space in there. So yes, the getting that project built is huge, and overseeing it, it's a $76 million project. It's actually larger than 76. 76 represents the construction portion of it. I think it was closer to 88 if you considered all of the planning and the architectural work that had to be done previous to that. But it's a big project, and we have to watch all of the dollars and make sure that the building's getting done right, and I think it's doing all right. In addition to that, we have we had a problem, a similar problem that we're having with the nursing home, with the correctional officers. Couldn't attract people. We were short by 40 people. We had to bite the bullet and give them a raise. I think it was about $7 an hour. And that made a significant difference. We're only short by, I think, 2 correctional officers right now. And it's not, the problem with having too few officers is they got forced overtime, morale was bad, and you can imagine, you got a bunch of guys in a jail that are cooped up, and you have the correctional officers that have a bad attitude because they're overworked and tired. That's not a good combination. But we're in a great position right now, so we solved that problem, and that was a good problem to solve. The next problem we have to solve is the nursing home. And the problem with the nursing home is that we were able to hire agency staff. So we have traveling nurses and LNAs coming to work for us. But they're coming to work for us at more than double what we should be paying. The problem is the negotiated rate with the union is less than that, way less than that. So much so we can't attract anybody. So we'll be in negotiations. We'll probably start in January with that contract, and hopefully we'll be able to make some corrections there, and it will actually reduce, by giving them a raise and attracting direct hires, will actually reduce the tax burden to the county. And that's that $4 million I said we spent probably too much with the nursing home, or the $10 million. I think we'd reduce that to closer to $6 million if we're able to hire everybody. But it's a lot of personnel, like 43 LNAs we're short.
Yeah, I mean, in conversations with other people, it's exactly what you said. It's not a very political job. Requires someone that can put the time into it. Very level-headed, nonpartisan. So it's exactly what you said.
It is. That's how I've always voted. Every vote that I've taken has been on the benefit of what I think is best for the county and for the residents, to operate the county well and to serve the residents and give them the services that they expect and deserve.
Yeah, and you said it a while back, and it's not necessarily a county-specific topic, but I still want to talk about it. You mentioned that the sheriff's office is doing a lot for human trafficking, and that's
I mentioned drug trafficking.
Drug trafficking, human trafficking as well, though I think needs to be. It's an issue nationwide. I think when we saw that new movie, not new anymore, but The Sound of Freedom. I don't know if anyone remembers that movie. I remember it. But I think with that movie and with a lot of stuff happening in the media, that issue became, it got put on the forefront. I think as a country, as a state, as a community, we can do better. It's here. I'm not going to say details, but it is here. I know people that have experienced it firsthand. It's a big problem, and drug trafficking as well. We have a drug problem in the state, that's not a secret, especially in schools. I think people would be shocked at some of the things that I've seen where I go at Pinkerton, for example. There's a lot going on, and I'm just glad to hear that there's plans in the county for the sheriff's office.
So the sheriff's office is directly addressing the drug issue. That's something that hurts us fast. There are deaths. We had a nasty problem at the jail one day when an inmate came in and was able to conceal heroin. Fentanyl. And it was underneath a bandage or something. It concealed it from because they search everybody and they try to do their best to make sure that there's nothing. But this time it got in, and when it was discovered, it got aerosolized in the room. And we had, I think, 12 ambulance rides that were necessary. And a whole bunch of people needed to Narcan. A couple of our officers needed to be Narcan twice. It was a real serious problem. And so the sheriff's office is doing a good job at addressing that. And I think all the police departments need that extra backup, if you will, or a little extra aggressiveness that the sheriff is offering. And you mentioned The Sound of Freedom. I just want to tell everybody, go and see the movie. If you have not seen Sound of Freedom, go see it. It is. First of all, it's a great movie. You know, from a cinematic standpoint, it was entertaining. It's shot well. It is one of the first movies that I saw that was really about an issue, and it was kind of in a documentary way, but it was done in a very entertaining way. Number one. Number two, the issues that it's addressing is eye-opening, and we all need to be aware of it, and it's an important thing that we do something about it. I cried in that movie at the end. I'll admit it. It was a moving experience, and I suggest everybody to go look at it.
You're not alone. I did too. And that kind of blends into national politics, because a lot of the drugs, a lot of the human trafficking, it's coming over the border. And, you know, I've mentioned this also countless times on the show, but needs to be closed. I mean, we had hopefully soon-to-be Congressman Prescott on last episode, talked about the border, talked about, you know, how we need to close it. And Kamala and Biden, they're not doing enough. And it hurts our communities.
It's criminal.
Yeah.
It's criminal to just let the door open and have all of these folks come in that are not properly vetted, that don't have a job, that they're not here because they want to immigrate and be immigrants to the United States, the greatest country in the world. They're coming for welfare or for some nefarious reason, or we don't know why. They should be coming here to work because they want to assimilate and be part of America. That's fine. Do it the legal way, and our lives would be better off for it. But what they're doing, allowing it to be open like that, is really, I think, is criminal.
And it's a political move too, because I mean, we saw the app that they all have. They're given an app where they can sign up for, you know, housing. They get free money, free health care, while homeless veterans are dying in the street.
Yeah, homelessness is a problem that I don't know if we have the means to solve, but we have to do everything we can to address it. I think that if we address the drug problem in a better way, I think we'll have less homelessness, because I think some of the homelessness is caused by people who get addicted to drugs, addicted to opioids specifically. I guess some people they take it once and they just can't stop taking it. I mean, it's an illness. Some people have that problem with alcohol too. And I think that they just spiral down faster with that drug than anything else, and then they're not functional and they can't work and they can't function. And then there's mental health, probably the biggest problem in our system, and our jail superintendent would agree with that, is mental health of the people that are coming, and the world.
Problem in the world.
Yeah, it's a serious problem, and I believe it starts at home. The problems with the schools are the parents. So you want to fix the schools, get the parents on board with a little bit of discipline, a lot of discipline, and to help bring up the children so that they respect the teachers that are being taught, rather than having the parents come in and go argue with the teachers. I was fearful if one of my teachers was going to call my parent and say that I wasn't behaving properly. I don't think that's the case in today's schools. It's like now the parents get up in arms and I'm going to go straighten out the teachers. And that's backwards. So, yeah, mental health. And this all comes down to mental health, because I think mental health starts when you're a little kid, you know, and how you're treated and how you're disciplined by parents appropriately, and learn to respect your elders and do the right thing in society.
Yeah, I got a couple more smaller topics before we end. I talked about this when I had Commissioner Chiricello and soon-to-be Commissioner Tombarello. We talked about Hampstead Hospital, how that's going to impact, I guess, the area. Not your district, obviously, but still bordering town. What are your thoughts on the issue?
Well, the biggest problem I see with Hampstead Hospital is that the residents of Hampstead don't want it there. So let's start right there. And I don't think this is a simple, not in my backyard kind of issue. It is a problem. Now, on top of that, Hampstead has a very high tax rate, higher than Derry. So they're already overburdened. To bring this facility into their town and to not back it up with extra police enforcement assistance is not helpful. I know that there was an effort to get a state police stationed at that hospital to reduce some of the burden on the local police that will have to respond to any number of kind of activities, and that wasn't provided. I would be hopeful that if in the new administration, when that happens, that they'll give more consideration to having more law enforcement, because when you have a show of strength, the bad actors will probably not act as badly because they won't get away with it. So it's unfortunate, and these kind of places need to go somewhere. But if we're going to put it in a community that's already burdened with tax and that doesn't have all of the resources it needs for the extra cost it's going to cost the community, then the state needs to come in and help out more in a way so that at least we're not making their tax rate go higher. I looked up all the county tax rates the other day, and for each individual community, and I was shocked to learn that Hampstead was one of the highest in the county.
Yeah, and it impacts a lot of my friends at school. Hampstead.
They go to
Pinkerton.
Pinkerton, right?
I work in Hampstead, so it impacts the area. It impacts the county, just like you said. And a couple more local things for Derry. By the time this is out, it'll probably be widespread news if you follow Derry politics. But today we had a school board member resign, Wilbert Danger. I'm very sad about it. He's a great guy, and we really needed him up there. I wish he stayed. But we're now going to be faced with an interesting scenario where people are going to be applying to finish out the 4 or 5 months he has left before the election. So we're going to get a new school board member in a few weeks, and the school board's going to handpick that member. Now, given who's on the board now, the remaining 6 members, I could be wrong, but I'm going to assume it's going to be someone that is not aligned with the viewers of this show's ideas, my ideas of how a school board member should be putting their attention right now. And that person's probably going to run again in March for the other 2 years of the term, because Wilbert was only just elected this year for the first time. We're going to have someone with incumbency advantage, but still, there's 3 other seats up in March. That's going to be 4 seats on the school board. We're going to have a very interesting election with 4 seats up. I know personally at least 2 of those seats are going to be open. I know 2 of the 3 incumbents that I know of are not running again.
Anthony, what I'd like to share with you on that is I want to tell your viewers, get involved. Get involved and sign up and run. That's how a community thrives, is by having regular people donate their time to make the community better and to make sure that it's run properly. I'm on my 9th budget. I'm on the budget committee in Salem, and we run a little differently than Derry. In Salem, the budget committee determines what budget is going to be presented to the folks at town meeting to vote on. So we kind of have the final say. It starts with the town manager, goes to town council, and then it goes to us, and then it goes to the voters at large. So it's a significant position. But I've looked over 9 budgets in a row, and I think that I've contributed, and I've brought on board a few other regular people. And you don't need to be some special, politician that is, particularly good at public speaking. You just need to care, and you need to be able to take the time and get involved and do the right thing. So I would encourage people, you got that many open seats, get out there and run. It'll be good for the community.
I completely agree. I was just going to say that, and this is the perfect time to do it. There's 4 open seats. If you're in the top 4, you're on. This is probably going to be your best chance at winning an election.
I would agree. That's a definite good opportunity for a newcomer that doesn't have any experience to have their best chance. And I would encourage good people, get out there and run. Donate your time. That's what makes a community great.
And you mentioned, I was going to mention this right after that. You're on the budget committee in Salem. I am, as the viewers know, on the school district's de facto budget committee through a loophole, which I'm still waiting for them to close that loophole. They told me that the policy committee is going to be meeting soon to close it, and they'll be curious to see if I'm grandfathered in. But I mean, I'm a new budget member. We haven't even seen the budget yet. We're going to be getting it in about a week and a half, I believe. What's your advice to me, and what's your advice to the other 8 or 9 new budget members? Because we have, 10 out of 11 of them are new, because most of them resigned after last year. And again, that shows how well-liked the school board was. But
If your goal is to keep the taxes low, you need to be focused on the personnel. And I would focus on not hiring more people. I've found that in Salem, we tend to be heavy on administration, and that has grown. And then they want more teachers. And it's just, I try to keep the personnel as lean as possible. Now, I would not suggest that you try to cut the teachers' salaries. That's not a good place to go. We want the best teachers teaching our children, and you have to pay them to do that. But they can do more with fewer people in a lot of circumstances, and I'd pressure them to have fewer personnel. That would be my first thing that I would push on.
yeah, you mentioned teachers. That's another thing that'll be on the ballot, the teacher's contract. That'll be on the ballot this year. The budget will be on the ballot because we're, the deliberative session, we're that model. 4 new members. The warrant article that we've been talking about, $25 million in repairs that we need.
For what?
I'll explain it briefly again. Our schools need, basically, if you combine all 6 of the schools, $25 million worth of repairs because previous school boards have just deflected maintenance. And now we got to catch up, and it's going to cost a lot of money.
Well,
They had played with 30 million, as much as 40 million at one point. Other more conservative members suggested 10 or 15, then 20. They settled on 25 2 weeks ago. Next week, I imagine at the meeting next week, I imagine they'll be giving more details.
Salem had a similar issue, and we renovated every one of the schools in Salem, including the high school. The latest high school one, I think, was $50 million or $75 million project. I lose track. But every one of the elementary schools were renovated as well. And you need to encourage the school board to put a budget in there to maintain it so that you don't end up down the road with so many repairs that you need to almost start from scratch. And then that costs a lot extra.
So we are just about out of time, so feel free to say anything else you want to say.
The only thing I have to say is thank you, Derry, for electing me in the past. And I'm looking forward to being reelected in the future. And you have my word that I will serve you as to the best of my ability and to have fun doing it.
Thank you for coming on. Another reminder, get registered to vote. This election's too important to sit out, all that good stuff. See you next week. I'm Anthony Henry. This has been America's Ass. Thank you for watching.